Going Beyond is a presentation of Beyond Housing, helping entire communities become better places to live with RareGem Productions.
We're going beyond.
Today on Going Beyond.
Have you ever thought about starting that business? Have you ever thought about you had an idea that you could make some money on? Well, today we are going to talk to someone who may just have that little bit of help you need to get you from your idea, from the skills you have, to being successful in your business.
One of our finalists last year is from North St. Louis, and she's been working on her own jewelry designs for a number of years. And she's even sold quite a bit of her jewelry. And she really needed some help formalizing her business, getting all the documentation in place, and just making her business more official, not to mention expanding a bit on the marketing side of things. So she applied to the entry program. We gave her feedback on her idea and her business proposal, and she was actually awarded a small grant for pursuing her idea. And along with that small grant, we also provided in-kind donations or services from a local law firm who was helping her formalize her business. So she's up and running now and working on her marketing campaign to expand, her presence here in St. Louis, and has formalized her business, has a bank account, and is rolling really well.
How exciting is that? Joining me on today's show is one of the co-founders of the BALSA Foundation, Mr. Maxim Schillebeeckx. Beyond Housing is going beyond.
That and more ahead today on Going Beyond with Chris Krehmeyer, right after this.
I think one of the most memorable instances for me, a patient had a kidney transplant and was on some very, very expensive medication that they needed to have on a day-to-day basis in order to continue to live. And this patient was left for several days before they could actually get that medication again. I thought, how in the heck could a patient or a person be given a life-saving organ and not be supplied the medication that they needed to stay alive? Not knowing anything about anything, I put on my Superman cape and we were able to help that patient get the medication. My name is Rosetta and I am a patient advocate.
You are not alone. There are people who care, and you can find them with resources you need and tips to help you thrive on our portal. Visit aliveandwellstl.me. RareGem Productions proudly presenting the positive.
We're going beyond. Welcome to this edition of Going Beyond. I'm your host, Chris Krehmeyer, President and CEO of Beyond Housing. On today's show, we're going to talk about, have you ever thought about starting that business? Have you ever thought about you had an idea that you could make some money on? Well, today we are going to talk to someone who may just have that little bit of help you need to get you from your idea, from the skills you have, to being successful in your business. Joining me on today's show is one of the co-founders of the BALSA Foundation, Mr. Maxim Schillebeeckx. Welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me, Chris.
So you and I have had a couple conversations about the BALSA Foundation. You and a number of your peers started a little while ago. So let's talk a little bit about what the BALSA Foundation is and what it does.
Yeah, sure. So the BALSA Foundation has been around for about a year now. And really our mission is to create a more inclusive entrepreneurial environment in St. Louis. So what our mission is to help anybody with a business idea that's just getting started really get their business off the ground with good footing. And we do that by providing them support and some financing, all free of charge.
So let's talk a little bit about who the we is. It was interesting about how you and a group of folks kind of got together and got this thing started.
Sure. So the BALSA Foundation really stemmed from another organization called the BALSA Group, which is entirely run by graduate students and postdoctoral fellows here in St. Louis, many of whom are at Washington University in St. Louis. And we volunteer our time to work with biotech and life sciences companies within St. Louis. And with some of the revenue that we create through that consulting service, we decided to form the BALSA Foundation. And so people behind the BALSA Foundation are many graduates of Washington University, young professionals like myself that are employed but volunteering our time for the organization. So we're a collection of volunteers, young professionals, graduate students, and postdocs that provide the support and help to anybody in the community.
All right, so we have some incredibly talented folks here in town who started with an idea to generate some revenue and saw, again, some gaps in, kind of what kind of help is out there to start folks who have an idea. So if there's somebody at home listening right now that has an idea, has had an idea, has done maybe a little bit of work on it, has seen a product or seen something that they thought, wow, if somebody would do this like me, this could be something fantastic. Describe kind of what they should be thinking about, what they should be doing, and how they reach out to you guys at the BALSA Foundation.
Sure. So we try to help anybody with any type of idea. So whether you're trying to start a salon or a pizza shop or a new biotech company, it really doesn't matter. And for anyone wanting to get started, we have readily available documents to help you think about your idea and your proposal. So on our website at thebalsafoundation.org, we have the Entrepreneur's Roadmap, which you can download. And the Entrepreneur's Roadmap really walks anyone down the line of starting that business, from evaluating a market and identifying the need for your idea, to incorporating in the state of Missouri, filing any legal documents that are needed, all the way down to potentially finding additional funding for your idea. So this instructional guidebook is a step-by-step manual that really walks you in an instructive way down that path. So that's a great place to get started for anyone that's just getting started on their idea. And then the next thing they can do is submit their idea, a one-page application that clearly defines what their idea is, what their passion is, and what their plan is for their idea. You can submit that to us, and within 2 weeks, we'll provide feedback on that idea. How is it written, and what are some things that could be improved or be considered about your idea and your application? So right away, you can get a lot of feedback from 3 or 4 professional young adults that are here in St. Louis. And with that, you could be eligible for a small grant of up to $1,000 to $5,000 that, again, has no strings attached to it. And so by working on the roadmap and then submitting an application, getting feedback from business supporters, and then potentially getting a small grant, they could be well on their way to getting their idea off the ground.
So again, if you have an idea at home, and I know you do because you've seen stuff, you've thought about it, I wish I would have thought of that idea, and look how much money somebody's making. Here's a great resource. Give us that website address one more time.
So the website is thebalsafoundation.org.
BALSA?
That's right, like the tree, the balsa wood.
All right, and could you give our listeners maybe an example of an entrepreneur or two that has reached out to you and what you guys have been able to do to help them along the way?
Sure, absolutely. So one of our finalists last year is from North St. Louis, and she's been working on her own jewelry designs for a number of years. And she's even sold quite a bit of her jewelry. And she really needed some help formalizing her business, getting all the documentation in place, and just making her business more official, not to mention expanding a bit on the marketing side of things. So she applied to the entry program. We gave her feedback on her idea and her business proposal, and she was actually awarded a small grant for pursuing her idea. And along with that small grant, we also provided in-kind donations or services from a local law firm who was helping her formalize her business. So she's up and running now and working on her marketing campaign to expand, her presence here in St. Louis, and has formalized her business, has a bank account, and is rolling really well.
How exciting is that? So when you think about, where you'd like to see the BALSA Foundation go, what's your vision of what you'd like to see happen in the years to come?
Sure. Well, we want to make St. Louis a hub for entrepreneurship, but not just for individuals that are affiliated with universities or are tech-focused, but really anybody at all. And we want everyone to consider St. Louis a place where they can pursue their own ideas and have the confidence to pursue those ideas. And so we want to provide everyone a vehicle, an avenue for them to pursue their business. And so, we don't want to limit it to anybody in any sector, in any industry, or any developmental stage. So we're excited to be able to contribute that to anybody here in St. Louis.
What's your sense of the biggest either misconceptions or maybe unfounded fears when somebody wants to be an entrepreneur and wants to start this thing where, they can be their own boss and earn the kind of revenue that they always dreamed of? What are the big misconceptions?
That's a really good question. One of them is that, an entrepreneur sometimes is associated with a really sexy tech type of project. But in my mind, an entrepreneur is someone that can also be a small business owner that wants to start a bakery or something that they see is significantly needed in his or her community. And many people think you have to have a business degree and have to have, a finance and accounting understanding and have to understand all the legal sides of things. But that's not necessarily the case. When you partner and team up with the right resources, you don't have to be an expert in all those different things. You just have to manage it and bring it all together. It's really the persistence and the determination that defines an entrepreneur moving forward. So you don't have to have a business degree. You don't have to have an intimate understanding of those types of things that related to business. You just have to be passionate about the idea that you want to pursue.
And if our listeners are out there, if one of the things that's crossing their mind today is, but what if it fails? What's your response to that? Because a lot that's been written in the last couple of years about if you want to succeed, you have to fail a little bit on the front side. So talk a little bit about, the fear of failure and what you can tell the budding entrepreneurs listening.
Sure. No, that's a very, very insightful thought as well, Chris. Failure is really how you define it. In any business, what you think it's going to look like a month from now is going to completely change. And so it's not necessarily failure, but an ability to adapt to that change and to continue to push in the direction that works and functions the most smoothly. And so you do have to become a little bit comfortable with uncertainty and some failure, but failure is a good thing. It means you have experience. It means you've gone through it. It means you're able to adapt and overcome that. And so, if I was investing in someone, I'd want to invest in someone that's failed a couple times because they've lived it, they understand it, and they've seen it. The good thing about the BALSA Foundation is we're not here to pick winners. We're awarding help to anybody and then potentially providing a grant to those individuals that show the most potential. But we're not here to pick winners or losers, but just to support everyone in their own pursuits.
Right. And again, I think the important part about kind of how you guys are structured is that you'll look at every idea in its unique own perspective versus having a rigid template that says you got to look like this if you want our help. But you can, as you said, all across the spectrum, and you guys have resources that will help folks think through the business plan, think through the marketing, think through the finances, think through the competitive landscape. If you want to start a bakery, well, where's the next closest 2, 3, 4, 5 bakeries? And is it still a good idea or not a good idea? So again, I think the idea of this multifaceted, approach to saying, doesn't matter what your business is, let's talk about it and see if it has some legs and see if we can help you.
That's right. That's exactly what we're trying to accomplish.
So again, if folks have this idea, have this desire that they wanted to start their own business, that they want to be an entrepreneur, that they think they have something that really is better than anything else in the marketplace, what should they do?
They should visit us at www.thebalsafoundation.org. Contact us through that website and apply to our program as soon as they can. The next cycle of our entry program will close in early May. So
timing is good.
Should get on it and, don't hesitate to reach out.
One last bit of maybe just a little bit of push or inspiration or nudge because, sometimes particularly if you're trying to raise a family and you have other bills, and it's hard to say, can I jump and do this new thing? Give our listeners one last little push about living out that dream to be an entrepreneur.
Well, you've got to start sometime, and the best time to start is today. And at the BALSA Foundation, we've made it easy to get started. It's a small, short application, and in the end, you want to end up working for your own dreams, not for someone else. So I would encourage everyone to think about their ideas and how to get started.
Maxim Schillebeeckx, one of the co-founders of the BALSA Foundation. Thanks so much for being on the show.
Thank you so much.
We're going beyond.
Going Beyond is a presentation of Beyond Housing, helping entire communities become better places to live with RareGem Productions. Proudly promoting, presenting, and producing positive programming.
Neighborhood is where you live, and we want to keep it strong and vibrant. This is Chris Krehmeyer with Beyond Housing. We are going beyond.
Chris Krehmeyer, President and CEO of Beyond Housing, located at 4156 Manchester, phone number 314-533-0600. The only organization in the St. Louis region that offers access to affordable housing. Wherever we work, our goal is to help transform people, families, and communities so that they achieve the skills, strategies, resources, and commitment to succeed for the long term. See our work at beyondhousing.org. Podcast for Going Beyond can be heard, downloaded, and shared by visiting hallelujah1600.com. Listed under the music tab on demand. Going Beyond is another positive production of RareGem Productions.